Lindenhurst is a village of 27,000 on the south shore of Long Island, New York. These are the people who grew up there and their stories. Everyone I know is from Lindenhurst. But yeah, so moving on, getting into college and leaving Lindenhurst. So did you graduate college?
I did. Okay. In this time, I should say, like, I was around like 14. I stopped being inside. I stopped being inside at like the age of 14. Once we started drinking and smoking and all of that, you know, just the classic 90s kid shit. Like you said, drinking 40s and smoking. And then I loved music. I was more obsessed with music than like any of my friends.
Yeah.
Particularly rap music, like real rap shit. Like New York hip hop. I was obsessed with it. I would cut out of school to get home in time to tape Video Music Box on a VCR. I had tapes and tapes, like archives of like all these underground rap videos. So now that we're outside all the time, I can't listen to the music really. So I started rapping, like that. That's how I started rapping, was through wanting to hear music and drinking. And then a lot of people did, but I stayed doing it. It's just something about it felt like it was like a natural thing for me. And so when I was about 16, I met these kids in Brooklyn called Nuclear Family. I don't know if they were called that yet. And I'm thinking, if I'm in Long Island and I'm finding myself around like a bunch of like hood kids, then I'm gonna go meet these kids. Because my boy's like, yo, you got to meet this other kid I met. He was from West Babylon, Queens originally. And he had gotten in a lot of trouble. So he met all these kids in Brooklyn, and he was like couch surfing out there. He was like always homeless. He was always sleeping on somebody's couch or something. He wasn't really homeless, but he was never at home. And he was like, yo, you got to meet this rap group I met in Brooklyn. You're going to like them. We're going to make songs with them, blah, blah. He put the whole thing together. He made these people a group. He gave the name. He kind of organized it. And he brought me into it. And I'm looking forward to meeting these kids. And when I get there, it's like 7 or 8 mostly white kids that like have like not cool haircuts at all. Like Beck, kind of like the guy Beck did, and like thrift store clothes, and they're like listening to jazz records, and they're like
so you got hipsters.
But they weren't hipsters, they were no hipsters yet. They were like on some like when the Beastie Boys were kids kind of shit. You know what I mean? They were like into like
super underground kind of
Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
They knew who fucking Kurt Vonnegut was, and they would rather listen to like a Bob Dylan record or something, and then play an MF Doom record.
Gotcha.
And I was like, word, these are the I come out, I got this exact sweatshirt, this De La sweatshirt. I have a skin fade with the look Mike Tyson crescent moon. And I got some Nike Uptowns on, and
standard 90s
hardcore rap.
Yeah.
And I meet these kids, and I'm like, these kids, this is Brooklyn. These are the kids that word. But there was something about, I tell the story to say that because this took me into college really. Because once I met these kids, I stopped hanging out in Lindenhurst so much. And they were totally non-violent. They didn't like fighting. They didn't think it was cool. None of them lifted weights, which is weird to me. I'm like, what the fuck? You don't lift weights? What are you going to do if some big Guido jumps out of a car because you like said hello to his girlfriend in study hall? Yeah. What happens if a 21-year-old man that's on steroids jumps out of a car because you're in high school and you talk to his girlfriend because she's in high school and in your class?
Right.
What are you going to do then? Like, there's nothing like that out here. So I met these kids, and there was something creative about them. They still had like 80s toys in their room, and they were free. Their rooms reminded me of my room when I was like 4 or 5 years old. There was like a creative innocence to the atmosphere, to the environment. And plus they had some pretty all right weed and pretty all right drugs, and they were like little weird little art chicks that hung around. And and they were making music. They actually had the means to record music. And these kids saved my life in a way, man. These kids saved me from being a complete fucking idiot my whole life. Like they opened the door to rejoin what I was kind of meant for to begin with, which is like true creativity, not like hiding my creativity and using some tough, acceptable, macho way to get it out, like by like rapping tough or something like that, or by just doing, street graffiti. Not that that's all that there is to those two things, but they were acceptable to just be, to just be chill, to just be cool, be creative, make something weird, to be weird. And I was always weird, man. As much as I could look like those other kids, the normal kids, whether it's Guidos or like, the thug kids, deep down, they knew I wasn't one of them, and I knew I wasn't one of them completely. I did a lot of the same shit, but there was something more going on in my head. I'm not saying I was smarter. These kids were fucking smart. They could steal a car. They could learn how to steal a car, learn how to do this and that. But there was just something different. There was like a different light I had going on in me. And when I met these kids, even though I would never be caught hanging out with these kids before I met them, something about their thing spoke to me. And the other thing I will say, man, that was the second eye opener in my life. The first one was when that kid handed me the mushrooms, that there was more to life. The second one was there's all these kids that I'm telling you about. They're like scraggly and pale and pimply, and they don't lift weights, and they got shaggy haircuts. And I'm not really shitting on them. This is just how they look. They've heard me tell this story. The nuclear family kids. And then they got these cute little, like, kind of arty, kind of like heroin junkie looking chicks around them and shit like that. And some of them were, some of them weren't, but they all had that like look,
malnourished.
Yeah, pale, malnourished. And so I was like, oh, I'm there. I'm a little jacked. I'm a little tan. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking clean up here. This is gonna be good for me. And they're going for these guys. And I'm like, wait, what? This guy doesn't bench press anything. This guy fucking, look at his hair. He hasn't had a haircut. I got a fresh fade. What the fuck you mean? So I was like, wait, she cares that he like read a book? Like that's interesting to her. But I didn't know, bro. I was ignorant. I was in a bubble. I grew up in a bubble.
How could you know?
If I knew that, I would have been doing it because I loved reading when I was a kid. I was a nerd, bro. I used to do voluntary book reports on dinosaurs, on Japanese gardens, until it became not cool to be smart, or until like those type of things. I started having negative interactions with people, and I needed to learn how to protect myself, and I didn't want to be like the butt of the joke, and I didn't want to be ignored. So, then I started with my bullshit to get attention the best way however I could, really. So anyway, that was the second. I was like, wait, so you don't have to be like a fucking tough guy asshole to get a girl? I didn't know that. You could just be like a decent guy and like read a book and be like interesting. Yeah. Open up a whole fucking world. Thank God. Because there's people still in their 50s to think that this is the way to meet a woman. You know what I mean? This is the way to meet and treat a woman. And I'm just glad these kids like I said, they saved me, man. These kids saved me from being a fucking complete fucking moron.
Well, it seems like now there's like a whole kind of red pill thing going on where guys are like going back to, this is what women really want. It's a manly man and this and that. And it's like,
yeah, and there's like a men's activism movement and shit that's questionable at best.
Them motherfuckers get no pussy, those guys.
Obviously. That's exactly why they're that way. Yes.
So I gotta say it that they get zero. They get zero girls. Those guys. And they blame it on the girls rather than blaming it on their own. Yeah, I'm aware of this whole movement.
Yeah, the incels and all that shit.
I'm around some of these guys, man.
Bad.
It's just like I said, it's like little boys emulating what they think a man is supposed to be doing. And they're emulating. I've heard it said, I was misinformed by the misinformed. And that's what they are. They're misinformed by the misinformed, man. You know, just be nice. And like, I'm sure they would like somebody who could protect them if something comes up. They like to instinctually feel safe, probably. You know, and I'm glad that I went through what I went through. So I feel like I can handle a lot of different situations that come up, or they don't even come up, because I know how to fucking handle them, and I'm not scared when something pops off. You know, but really, I'm glad I learned that. I'm glad I'm not on that bullshit that these guys are on. You know, it's really sad that everything they think it's this. Here we go, fucking it's just capitalism is their problem. Everybody thinks their problem is something else. It's the gays. It's the fucking immigrants. It's the this. It's that. Your problem is this fucking predatory fucking system that we live in, and nobody's fucking happy.
I've heard it called the hedonistic treadmill, where people are just running nonstop, chasing that shit that's never gonna actually do anything for them.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
But so did you ended up recording music with these guys?
Yeah, I ended up making music with these guys, and at this time, this is before even an Eminem existed. I think there was like Vanilla Ice, then House of Pain. So I'm like, we're making this music. I think we had like one Spanish guy, one black guy in the group, and I'm like, man, nobody's gonna want to listen to this shit, bro. Nobody wants to hear a bunch of white guys rap, bunch of white boys rap. And so we're making these little 4-track tapes, man. We're making fun, weird, bugged out, cool ass, like just bugged out songs. You know, they're sampling everything from like Donovan to, sampled like, I don't know, we sampled a lot of shit. We sampled a lot of weird records because those are the records we had around. You know, like rap came because people were sampling their parents' records. Their parents listened to soul. These kids had Donovan and shit like that. Jethro Tull and shit. And other more bugged out shit than that. So yeah, we started recording music, and I'm just having fun with it, man. Because I don't think anybody's ever gonna want to, besides our friends, are gonna want to hear these things. And definitely nobody's gonna want to go see us perform this live. I'm like, we're never gonna do any shows. But this is fun. I like these people. I like making this stuff. I didn't take it serious at all. And I went to college. I went to FIT. And,
Are you rapping as Tone Tank then? Or?
I was still under Clout. At that point, I was under Clout. Just my graffiti name became my rap name. And this kid, he went by Nails. I'm not going to say his real name. He was a fucking problem in Lindenhurst, this guy. He was like my partner in crime, Nails. He's from Copiague, but he went to high school in Lindenhurst. A menace, a complete fucking menace. He would come to my school. He didn't go to school, but he would come to my college on 27th Street. I got kicked out the dorms after the first semester. He'd come to my college on 27th Street, and I'd get out of class, and he'd be like, yo, Clout, you want to get some beers? He had a lisp. He had like every psycho has like the Mike Tyson lisp, like Mike Tyson.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
the rapper Fuji Rap.
Yeah.
Necro has a lisp. Every fucking psychotic person has a lisp. And yeah, he's like, yo, Clout, about myself. And he'd already be smashed. This kid like did so much shit at my college that fucking I would have to answer for and be like, I don't know. You guys thought he was fun. You wanted to run around like he's the fucking life of the party and your mascot, but you don't like it when he does shit that now the police are here and somebody's bleeding. I'm telling you, you're having fun, but this is not going to be fun for you. Like, Anyway, I managed to graduate college. After my associates, I got a job doing design a little bit in Soho. I had a business card. It said creative director. All I did was like look on Napster for underground rap shit and give girls my business card and then they would call me on the job landline, and the secretary would be like, "Yeah, hold on, yeah, you got another call." You know, like that's. I was 21. I thought I was hot shit because I had a business card. You know, I was just living my best life, as they say. And yeah, I thought that was totally fine and appropriate, totally normal behavior. Yeah, forget my personal number. Here's my business card with no personal number, only the number for the office I was working in.
And are you you're out of Lindenhurst at this point?
Yeah. I moved to Bensonhurst, which is like where my family originally came from, Bensonhurst and Bay Ridge. I'm half Irish, half Sicilian. So my Irish half was from Bay Ridge. My Sicilian half from like Bensonhurst, Dyker Heights.
There you go.
11th Ave in Bensonhurst. Yeah, I'm back there. I got a studio apartment. Some old Italian lady I rent from. She was a sweetheart. At this point, this double life I have where I have like a business card and a job, but also have like warrants in every borough. But like drinking and fight and stuff is starting to like narrow in. And it's closing impending doom. Like, and I didn't know what to do, man. I didn't know how to stop this shit. Like I would go out for a work dinner with this company that was in the modeling industry in Soho. And like we'd be at these big parties on like they'd rent like a yacht, and then we'd be on a party and I get in a fight with like 3 male models at the same time because I thought that they were cock blocking me. I didn't realize maybe the girl was more attracted to the male models than she was me. But I'm like, yo, why every time I turn around, these guys are talking to this girl? And I've getting brawls on that. Like it was hard to take. You could take the boy out of Lindenhurst, but taking the Lindenhurst out of the boy, I was already fucking brain damaged by then. My like a bonsai. I was all bent up. My brain was all bent up. The neuroplasticity of my brain was fucked up. Anywhere I go, I couldn't help but get into a fight. I didn't know how not to get into a fight. I felt uncomfortable. I'm going to drink. And then when I drink enough, it's too late and I'm going to get into a fight. If I'm not going home with a girl, I'm getting into a fight. And usually I would get the window between feeling comfortable enough to talk to somebody and way too fucked up to talk to somebody was such a small window that usually it was a fight, and my drinking got really bad. And I went out one night to a work function, got kicked out of a bunch of bars, and then stole a truck on the way home, like a box truck on the way home. I was a creative director, it said. I'm a creative director, and I'm stealing going out to celebrate a good business quarter with the company, and I steal a box truck on the way home because I'm scared. I'm tired of passing out on the train every time. Every time I fucking take the train, I pass out and I wake up in Coney Island. So I'm like, if I drive home, I won't crash. I won't fall asleep. This is my thinking. This is
That's good logic, yeah.
And then I'm like, I can't. So I call my friends after that day, and I'm like, I'm quitting drinking. That's it. This happened. I could have killed somebody last night. I crashed into like a fucking block worth of cars on purpose, like sideswipe right by the projects up in the 90s. And like sideswiped like a block's worth of cars because
didn't get stopped.
What?
You didn't get stopped or anything?
No. What happened was I'm coming down 2nd Avenue and somebody's flashing their lights at me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, it's undercovers. I guess this is it. I'm not stopping. Then I realized I never turned the headlights on, man. So I'm looking to turn the fucking headlights on. I'm at a red light. And I pull something. I'm blackout drunk, by the way. You know what I mean? Right. I remember this.
Of course.
I don't know what the fuck. I never driven a truck, Right. there was when before Eminem was like a whiny bitch, always like crying about being rich and shit. He was fun. He's like a little trailer trash kid that did acid, and he would say shit like, "Give me the keys. I'm drunk and I've never driven a truck." And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm really living the shit that this guy was rapping about. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I'm doing the fucked up thing, guys. I was doing exactly what I thought I was supposed to be doing. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is what you're supposed to do. Because this is what all the guys I looked up to did. And I didn't know, I really honestly didn't know that there was another way. I was so, like I said, I was just so wired this way. By now, my brain was so wired to just do this kind of thing. So anyway, I'm trying to turn the lights on. I pull something and the fucking truck dies. And now I'm trying to start it. It won't start. I'm at a red light. Now the light's green and people are beeping behind me. So I get out of the truck and I just give them like the fucking Robert De Niro wave. Like, you know, you can't see, but I'm holding my hand up and I'm shaking my head, smiling like, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I know I got to go. And I start walking away from the truck and then I just fucking turn a corner. I just start running. Run a couple blocks. I have no idea where the fuck I am. I'm on the Upper East Side somewhere. And I walk up to a cop and I'm like, hey man, you know where the fucking subway is? I'm lost. And I get right on a train. I woke up in Coney Island.
Of course.
I woke up in fucking Coney Island anyway, man. And yeah, man. And then the nice old Italian lady would see me coming in all these hours, and I would feel so shitty, man. I would feel so bad because I didn't want her to see me like that. I didn't want her to see that side of me.
So, did you continue working in the arts as far as like graphic design and
The only reason I got that job was because it was a giant fucking tech boom at that time.
Yeah,
it was like between 99 and 2000, and then that bubble burst, and they laid me off. And I had an open court case at the time in Suffolk County. And I had a major open court case in Manhattan as well. And those finished. You know, those went away. And they called me into my boss, who usually is the one who wants to drink with me all the time. I'm sober at this point. He's not there. He dips out early and he's being weird and shady. He dips out early that day. And they laid me off because they laid off like 25% of the company, but I was happy. I was like, all right, can I get a letter of recommendation? They're like, yeah, of course. This is nothing to do about you. I was like, am I going to get unemployment? They're like, yeah. I was like, so why does everybody look so sad for? Fucking, it's fine. I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah, that was that. Then you know what I did? Speaking of fucking assholes with a fucking juvenile idea of what a man is. So I don't want to do fucking arts. I don't want to do an office job. I started really romanticizing the working man, the blue collar man. And I was like, I should be doing something blue collar like my father, because I guess I still wanted to be tough or something. You know what I mean? And it was never going to be enough. It's like that thing you were talking about, that treadmill. Yeah. It's never enough.
Chasing the dragon.
Nothing's ever enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're never going to be good. If you're not good enough, you're never going to be good enough. If you don't love yourself, you're never going to be good enough. And the point is, I probably just didn't love myself. You know, actually, I'm not going to say probably. I did not. I did not enjoy myself. The only time I felt like I was worth something was when I was making music or making art or creating a crazy story for people to tell, or, you know, being crazy, put myself at risk. So I stopped trying to pursue a career in art. Also, it was hard. After that tech boom, that bubble pop, the .com bubble pop, I couldn't find any work. And then I collected unemployment for a long time and made a rap album. And I want to say I never recorded the music that I made until I stopped drinking, until I stopped doing drugs. I had a lot of ideas when I was drinking, and I would tell every fucking buddy who would listen about them, but I had never actually started recording music making actual art that people would see and I could buy, or making t-shirts or any of the stuff until I got sober, you know? Then all my energy went into that. So yeah, pretty much from then till now, I've not professionally worked in the arts. I am a guy who works and I have a job and I make art, And there was times where I wasn't in the union. I didn't have a steady job. I avoided coming into the union for a long time because I knew how it was. I saw my pop. He got a call at fucking 2 a.m. Hey, Joe, can you come in? Yeah, I'll be right there. I'm not doing that shit. Are you nuts? I'm fucking 20, 21. We were doing rap shows. We ended up touring. We went on tour with some good acts. We put out a lot of music, a lot of CDs at the time. And I got to travel the world with like my best friends, with these guys who gave me another crack at life, basically. Like, I'm sure they did not, when they brought me around, I'm sure they were like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? I don't know if I want this kid in my house, Like, I had the fucking, everything I told you with the skin Mike Tyson fade. I also had the chip I was missing a fucking tooth from fighting at the tunnel. And these guys trusted enough or saw something enough to like show me love and let me in their house and let me in their world. They didn't have to do that,
You might have given them a little street cred too.
Yeah, I did. I saved, I fucked people up for them on tour, and in general, like even in their neighborhood, there was like people who might try to clown or something. And luckily I was able to do that for them, and I always felt like I had to do that for people. Like I had nothing else to offer. Like, yo, I got your back. You know what I mean? But I didn't know how to be like necessarily a good friend because I never learned that really. I learned it from Mel. When I started meeting guys like Mel and stuff like that, that was like the precursor to meeting these guys,
Yeah.
I was like, Mel's the one who introduced me to hardcore. Mel introduced me to hardcore and Oi and all that shit. And
once I met him in 10th grade, that was it. It was just like opened every door as far as like socially for me.
God bless him. I was with him Sunday, man. Him
and Rob McAllister. Yeah. R.I.P.
Yo, Rob was another friend. I'm in the apartment that Mel and Rob lived in together in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then me and Mel lived, and then now it's me and my wife and my kid. The friends that I made, these guys. Once I found people who were not psychopaths, sociopath, criminals. I don't know, man. I learned how to be a friend to people, and they were patient with me because I did not know how to be a good friend to people, because I was never had anybody be a good friend to me because I was chasing the wrong people, So yeah, Mel put me on to all this shit. The reason I met Mel, there was this kid, I'm not going to mention who the fuck he is because it's like, the story's not like favorable to him. Like it doesn't paint him in a good light, but there was a kid I was friends with. And he was like, yo, I got a problem, man. I got a problem with this guy. I'm like, oh, yeah, who is he? And he's like, Mel. I'm like, I don't know him. They're like, yo, he's like a big Turkish guy. And one time they pointed him out. And Mel had the serious Turkish eyebrow. And he's looking like this. I'm like, oh, this kid thinks he's tough because he looked all serious when I saw him. He wasn't being goofy or nothing. I was like, all right. So like a week or two later, after this guy points him out, I end up at a party without this kid, and Mel's there. And again, this is before I met the kid from Bunga, but he's like, hey, how's it going, man? I'm just like looking at him. I'm like, is this kid fucking with me? There's no way he talks like this. There's no way that's his fucking voice. And there's no way he acts. I'm like, where he's going to fucking sucker punch me and be like, hey, what's up, man? I heard you got beef or something.
Soft spoken.
Yeah. No. He was like, hey, what's up, man? Want to do shots? I'm like, yeah. And then we do shots.
And he's your best friend, yeah.
We popped a bunch of ecstasy pills. Either I had them or he had them. I forget. And we're walking down the train tracks in North Lindenhurst, man. And we're best friends. And I told him the story. I'm like, yeah, this kid, he told me. I'm like, you know what? I like you better than him. Fuck that kid. And me and Mel became like brothers, like his parents I love his parents. His mother knitted a sweater for my son. You know what I mean? Like, we got that Mediterranean bond.
Yeah.
The welcoming these people. I can't say enough good things about him and his family and his people, and the world that he opened me up to.
Yeah. So, and that was Nuclear Family that you were touring with, the same group.
Yeah, it was Nuclear Family, Nuck Fam for short, NUKFAM.
And there's records out that you can hear.
Oh yeah, but most of my stuff is solo. There was like 11 of us at one point, and it was really like, it was kind of like some Wu-Tang shit. It was like some like Beastie Boy Wu-Tang Clan shit, as far as like
kind of like a collective, more or less.
The first Wu-Tang album was good.
Yeah.
As a group, that's like the only real Wu-Tang album.
Right.
And then the other albums they tried to make as a group, just like, you can't have everybody on every song. Just everybody doesn't sound good together. Everybody doesn't like rapping with the other person, like
it's too contrived after that.
Yeah. And it just wasn't working out. So we would tour together and we'd all do our own projects. And when we'd get on there, we would just do whatever, a couple of us had smaller groups within the group, like me and the guy Cray, that was my main partner. And me and him had a rap group called Iller Than Theirs. And then, so me and him would do a lot of songs together. And then there was a group called Junk Science within the group. Then there was Scott Durrow and Probe. And they had like Scott and Probe. So, and we had our DJ Snafu, who was also part of Junk Science. So there were like multiple groups in the group. But yeah, you can find my music under Tone Tank on Spotify. And that's probably the simplest, easiest way. And then hit me up if you want more, But yeah, Nuck Fam was the collective that started out as a group. There's like one EP that's really cohesive as all of us trying to be a group. And then eventually we just all started going on to solo projects and stuff like that. But we still toured together.
Okay. And so now at what point does acting come into play for you?
Acting came through the rap. It all came... The creativity just put me around the people that I needed to be around, man. And I don't regret growing up the way that I grew up, because it's so cliche, but I wouldn't be me without that. And I learned a lot of lessons. And luckily, first of all, I had both of my parents, and they were tough people. It's not like I had soft parents, but I had both of them there, and they were present, and my dad was sober. Some of these guys would have to go drag their dad out of the fucking bar in the daytime hours. So their mother was fucking on pills and shit like that. I didn't have that. That's the difference. That's why I can be grateful for what I went through, because I got to see like it into adulthood and get past it. So anyway, the way that the acting came about was because I was making a rap video. We had a few other groups that we rapped with. There were these two other groups, one called NRO and one called The Dugout, and then Nuck Fam. And each of these groups had like 7 to 8 guys. So like, if we did a show, we'd pack it out just with the members. Never mind, then we all brought people. We were able to pack out like small venues and mid-sized venues. So there was a dude, Shaka King, who was down with The Dugout. He used to make beats for The Dugout. And then I would bump into him in my neighborhood on Fifth Avenue in like South Slope, 18th Street, Fifth Avenue. When I was living over there, I lived in like a loft, and it wasn't like nice, like the loft on Big. It was a bunch of dudes in the same group living in a building with bedrooms with no windows, and it was a fucking mess. And we always had somebody trying to get on their feet, sleeping on our couch, and nobody never got on their fucking feet. I didn't see one person get on their fucking feet.
Yeah. It was more like a squat.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
For them, it was a squat. For me, me and the other 3 guys that actually lived there, we paid rent. But yeah, it was a flop house. It was a flop house. That's what it was. And, anyway, I bumped into Shaka King over there. And he's this dude, Shaka. And he's like, yo, you're a Nuclear Family, right? Because he never performed with the Dugout, but he made beats for them. So I didn't really know who he was. And we start talking. He's just a cool guy, man. We talk about life, talk about all the shit. I'm having a cup of coffee on Fifth Ave, and we have cups of coffee together and talk because he was working right over there. Around that time, he was in film school. I didn't know it. And he said, yo, I want to make a video for you and Cray. So he made a video called Razor Bumps. You can find it on YouTube. Illionaires Razor Bumps. That's the first video he made. And then when he heard the song 40s, I did a song called 40s, really about growing up in Lindenhurst, basically, with Scott Durrow and me. Scott Durrow made the beat, and I rapped. And he was like, yo, I got an idea for this song. I let him hear the album before it came out. And he was like, I want to make a video for this song. I want to film it where you grew up. So then I take him around. I'm telling the stories. Like, I'm telling the fucked up stories. Like, yeah, I had a bad trip over here. And I saw like carloads of kids kick the shit out of this one guy when I'm on acid. And I think it's about to happen to me because that's the nature of the way things would happen. Like, I have nothing to do with it, but I'm there. So I take off running down the fucking block. So I'm like fucking tripping out hard. And anyway, I'm telling them stories like this. And I'm taking them all over. I'm taking them to the train tracks, taking them to the dirt hills. I'm taking them to the horseshoe. I'm taking them to all these places where like we would just go break windows and all of that shit. The industrial area on Richmond, a lot of shit happened over there. I kind of made myself a name over there on Richmond, you know, like nobody knew who me and my friend were. And then all of a sudden we started fucking like lighting garbage cans on fire and inviting people to come drink beers with us. Next thing we knew, like the whole fucking high school was there and like people knew who we were. That was in like 9th grade. But anyway, so I'm taking him, showing him these stories as much like I'm telling you the stories that are the things that happened earlier. And he comes back a weekend later and we film the video in all of these spots. You know what I mean? And he's like, as I'm telling these stories, he's fucking like, he's dying. He's laughing. It's ridiculous. You know, this kid from Bed-Stuy, and he's out here with me, and I'm telling him these crazy, fucked up Lindenhurst stories. And he's like, he's like intrigued. He can't believe it. He's intrigued. And he's like, yo, I'm working on a film I'm working on a script right now. I want you to be this character, Jackie. And I'm like, man, I've seen how easily a film could go wrong if you don't have all the shots you need, or if somebody fucks up or does something wrong and it makes the whole thing go to shit. And I know how expensive a film is. And I'm like, bro, you don't want to do that, man. Just like get a real actor. I'm not an actor. He's like, nah. The thing about Shaka is, man, I wish I had the confidence and self-esteem that this man has. He's like, no, Tone, no, it's you. It's going to be you. You're doing the part. It's you. And, you know, I'm like, okay, fine. I don't think it's actually going to happen because I never met anybody that made a movie before. But next thing you know, he's like, you know, get ready. These are the shoot dates within like 6 months to a year. And by that time, me and him had traveled a bunch. We got real tight. We went to New Orleans together. We you know, that's one of my great friends to this day, man. So he's the one that got me into acting through the movie Newlyweds. And I played a part Jackie, just kind of like a dickhead working guy, not very nice, Italian American, slightly racist, complete dickhead of a guy. I played this character. Yeah, he always seems to cast me in that kind of light. It sometimes makes you wonder what your friends really think of you.
Yeah.
If they keep casting you as like a real dick. And yeah, that's what got me into acting, man.
Okay.
And from there, like I met other people and was able to do a decent amount of acting.
Okay. I'm sorry I didn't bring up your page here. You do have an IMDb and it does list some of your other roles, but can you just like quickly maybe tell us some of your favorite roles or some cool experiences you had doing that?
Yeah, for sure. Let me think. Edit out the blank space if you can, because I'm going to be thinking.
I always do. Yeah, it's mostly me leaving this space.
I mean, being that role, being Jackie was a lot of fun, man. Being Jackie was a lot of fun. I think the funniest fucking thing was shooting Judas and the Black Messiah. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. It takes place in Chicago in 1968. But fortunately for them, present day Cleveland looks like Chicago in 1968.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
It's kind of fucked up, you know. So I think we were in like Slavic Town or something like that. They rented the whole block was for the shoot, and they did it up. And you know, the part of the movie is I'm a cop, clearly not a good guy. You know, it's a movie where the Black Panthers are the protagonists, and I'm a white cop in 1968, so clearly I'm not cast as a good guy. Mm-hmm. And my job is basically I'm antagonizing the Black Panthers are holed up in this building, and I'm antagonizing them because I want to provoke them to come out and start some shit so we could really burn down their building, you know?
Right.
So they had written a couple of like racist jokes for me to tell over the loudspeaker. And I'm like telling these jokes. I got a partner. I got a good partner in this. He's another actor playing my partner as a cop. And every day, me and this guy just hit it off, man. Every day we'd get our coffee. We'd sit in our trailer. We had the shittiest trailer that any of the actors had, which was great because it felt like old timey. And we would drink our shitty coffee together, and we would listen to like Merle Haggard fighting inside of me, and Okie from Muskogee, and I wish a buck was still silver, and a Ford would last like they used to, and all these songs about this fucking guy crying about how, you know, upset about how America ain't as good anymore. And we would drink this, and we would just be like, damn right. Just to get into character, we would fucking drink our coffee, listen to this fucking music, and then go out there ready to not be friends with these fucking people. Because to my car, I got a job to do. You know what I mean? My friend, he's getting this job, this opportunity to make a movie on fucking Warner Brothers. I don't want to be the one to fuck it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the one to come weak with it. So like, I got to be in proper. I got to be in that mode. So you know, we're getting in that mode. We're listening to that country music. We're bitching about how fucking these pink fucking commies, fucking hippies ruining this fucking place, man. You know, all of this shit. Then I get out there and he's like, so here's a script. I'm telling the jokes in the script. It's not really hitting, man. It's just not hitting. It's kind of like whatever. It's just not landing. We got about 100 extras. And they're not all actors. A lot of them are not actors. They're just regular people. They're walking back and forth, like about 100 black extras in the back. And when we rolled up, people really was looking at us like, the cops just rolled up. You know what I mean? You know, I'm clean cut. They shaved my beard. They gave me like the fucking Hitler Youth haircut, the high and tight Hitler Youth haircut. And what's it called? It's not really working. And Shaka comes out and he's like, Tone, why don't you just start like, he knows I crack on people. I could crack on anybody. He's like, why don't you just start cracking jokes on the extras as they're passing by and just go off the top. Just start harassing. How would you get them out of this fucking building? So I just start cracking on them. You know, I just start going off the cuff. And yeah, man, it worked. It worked. But then now it's lunch break. Now I go into this giant church auditorium where we have the food set up. I'm like, oh man, these people, I did a little too good of a fucking job, man. And I don't look how I normally look. So I'm like, these people, what are you going to do, man? My loyalty is to the art. My loyalty is to my job at that point, man. I can't be worried about if people like me or not. You know what I mean? Because even after the fact, I heard some of the sound people when they heard us record what we were saying, they were looking at each other like, yo, is these guys are fucked up. Are they really like this? And everybody's like, yo, it's Shaka's personal fucking friend. I'm sure he's fucking not like that. Just chill out. Oh, it's acting, you know? And so I go in there, and there's the old lady. There's the old lady who I don't know if you've seen the movie or whatever, or seen the clip, but I'm like, hey, whatever the fuck your name is. Hey, Billy, whatever, my cop partner. Is that Harriet Tubman? Oh, I'm sorry, it's Aunt Jemima. And I see this woman, and she's like, I'm going to talk to you. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't want to say nothing to no sweet older woman. You know what I mean? I'm like, she's like, nah, you're good. You're good, honey, blah, blah. And I was so cool. The people of Cleveland, because all the extras are all the background people, the background actors, they're not extras because they're needed. They're necessary. All the background actors were local people from Cleveland. And they're the most beautiful people, man. I had some real sweet times with these people, and just was grateful for the not to be corny, but like the tenderness that I was shown from these people in my time in Cleveland, from the cab drivers, from the people working in the different waitresses and stuff like that, man. Cleveland had some real down to earth, sweet people, man. It's hood as fuck. And that scares some people, man, but they're sweet people there, probably more so than places where it's fucking nice and everybody's judgmental. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I don't know. Continuing fucking theme in my life. I don't know.
And as a kid who grew up running from the cops, what was it like to play one?
Easy as a motherfucker, because I know them.
You know how they operate. Yeah.
You might know, if you didn't run from them, you know them when they come into DARE school. Officer Bob coming in to do the DARE program.
He's your friend.
Officer Ed was my cop. Yeah.
You had Officer Bob, or no? I didn't hear what you said.
I had Officer Ed.
All right. We had Officer Bob. He's a giant fucking guy, man. He looked like he was some kind of Polish or Slavic or something, but he's very American. And I went to DARE with that guy, and I also got fucking taken home by that guy. One night walking down Straight Path at like 3 a.m. at like 14, 15 years old, because I got caught stealing spray paint from Kmart.
Yeah.
3 of us did, and then we decided to run away because they called our house. And where else are we going to sleep? We slept at Tuscan, the abandoned milk factory, lit fires and sprayed spray paint into the fires to keep them going. And yeah, man. So then anyway, ended up getting fucking pulled over the seat, fucking roughed up by this cop, calling me you little cocksucker and all of this shit. So I was, I knew the cops in their real form.
Sure.
How they really were. Like when I got in a fight on the Long Island Railroad with my friend with the lisp, my psycho friend with the lisp that you seem to know who I'm talking about.
I do, yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah. Me and him got in a fight with like grown-ups on the fucking Long Island Railroad. Like the second the train pulled out of Penn Station going to Long Island. And so anyway, I hit this guy with a mini bat, and like he's fucking bleeding and shooting all over the place. I'd never seen this before. His blood was like shooting out of his face. They had the little like dividers by the doors, and it had like some like, I don't know, Fly Pan Am poster or something, and it's white. And it looked like somebody took like a red spray can and held it back and just like missed it. Because these guys were trying to bully us, man. They didn't like the way we were dressed. I got a lot of that from adults. Like grown men really hated me and hated the fact like how I talked and how I dressed. Pick your fucking pants up and all that shit, right? Yeah. Before every white woman talked like a black gay man, every white housewife now talks like a black gay man, like girl, and all of that shit. It was very unacceptable. It was very unacceptable. They had a great hatred for us, and these guys all looked like cops that we got in a fight with. They were like white homeowners coming home from a Rangers game, and then there's me, and we got in a brawl, and we were outnumbered. There was like 4 or 5 of them, and I just started swinging into the crowd with a miniature baseball bat, and then we got arrested. I busted this guy. I busted in between the space between your lip and your nose. That space was just like flopping. And I was like 135 pounds at that time, man. They were grown men. I was a skinny fucking kid still. And I say this to say the cops take us off of the train at Jamaica because it was like Penn Station. The next stop's Jamaica. So like all this mayhem rips loose. And now the cops are holding us in cuffs to Jamaica. They get me into the elevator with me and these guys. They split me and my friend up. I don't think they took him in. I think they only took me in that day because I had the weapon. So the cop says to all these other guys who look just like him, these 35-year-old white guys with goatees and, love guns and American flags and shit like that, and the Rangers and sports and football and all of the shit that I fucking don't like very much. Even back then, I didn't know. I wasn't political, but I knew these were not my people. You know what I mean? I knew these were not my people. These people made me feel extremely uncomfortable and judged, and always felt like, it could be a matter of minutes before the fucking, the lynch mob turned on me. You know what I mean? I seen it happen before to me. I seen it happen to me. Yeah. Where they'll just take the side, or they don't even know what the fuck's going on. They'll see me getting into it with somebody, just take my side take the other guy's side based on how I look. So anyway, I'm in the fucking elevator with the cops, and I'm with one cop, and I'm with 3 of the guy and his friends that I fought. And the cop says, "What do you say I hit stop and let these guys kick your ass?" I'm like, "Yo, you got to do what the fuck you got to do, bro. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care." And then he looks at me with disgust, and he says, "Pick your pants up. You look like a fucking idiot." And he didn't want to say idiot. Mm-hmm. He stopped himself. Mind you, this is like 98 or something. 97, 98, 98 probably. So I know how they are, man. I know how they talk when they're around, like when they're comfortable. So it was easy. Make a long story long, it was fucking easy. Being somebody who had a decent amount of interactions with the police, it was easy to do. It was easy to do. Maybe like a kid, it would be easy for a child to imitate his abusive father or something. Sure. It's easy. You pick that up. So, I think I fucking nailed it, to be honest. Not to be cocky about the acting, but that part, I'd say I nailed that one out of all of them.
Great movie. And I think it won an Oscar too, right? Like best screenplay or something.
Yeah. And it was nominated for a lot of them.
Yeah.
And, my friend Shaka did not have to put me in there, but he's had faith in me, and I appreciate that, because I didn't necessarily, in the beginning of acting, didn't have faith. I'm like, movies are fucking expensive. You should get a professional, uh-huh. I don't want to be the reason that, how many chances do you get to like spend $100,000 on a creative project? I'm not going to be the reason that your career didn't fucking happen,
And I mean, it's always nice though to have friends bring you along for some of their, success, or want to include you in the bigger shit they're doing.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Before we really wrap it up here, I wanted to bring it back a little bit. In your teenage years, did you ever work anywhere in or around Lindenhurst? And if so, where?
Yeah.
Besides CRI.
Well, besides CRI, obviously.
I worked at Taco Bell first, I believe.
Okay.
It was on Montauk Highway. No, sorry. Sunrise Highway. Highway.
Before they moved it to Delaware. The other
Yeah,
spot.
what's the block with an A?
Allegheny.
Yeah.
Allegheny? Yeah, it was on Allegheny. And
you used to have to go outside to go to the bathroom in the back of it. Like it wasn't. Yeah.
That's a tropical smoothie cafe now.
It is.
Oh, how is it?
That's all right. It's got a drive-through.
How much sugar is in those fucking things?
All of the sugar.
It's fake healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. I got fired from that job, or I just stopped going. They'd be like, "Smile." I'm like, what do you mean? And they, hey, how's it going? On the drive-through, hi. They'd be like, hi, how are you? And I'm like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. I worked at Checkers.
Nice.
I worked at a place called Landmark Grill. I bust tables there.
Yeah.
I remember the Landmark Grill. I believe it's Hurricanes now.
Oh, is it?
Right
I
on
think
Montauk,
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that job sucked. I sucked at that job. Yeah. I don't know. I sold a lot of weed. They're really, when I was like 14,
you're not the only person in Lindenhurst who can say that.
Yeah. 14, 15, 16. Like I was still trying to do the job thing, and it didn't work out. I wasn't a good worker. They weren't good jobs. Like, it was a bad situation for both parties,
Yeah.
Bad job for me, bad worker for them. So I just sold a little bit of weed. I never cared that much about money. I sold enough weed that I would have like money to get like a $100 shirt, because like I cared about like Polo and Tommy Hilfiger and shit like that back then. And maybe like take my girlfriend out to see a movie or something, and buy more weed to sell more weed,
Sure.
Vicious
cycle.
cycle.
I would when I was back in the regular high school, I would keep them in I would cut class, and I would keep them in a brown paper bag, and they'd always be like leaves up against the wall and shit. I would go play handball against the wall, and I would keep it against the wall, the bag, so it would look like garbage, and then people would come up, and I sold nicks, so that, because I remember, like, if somebody wanted to get a dime, you might have to take your lunch money and then go find somebody else with lunch money, and then find you. But if I sold nicks, I wouldn't lose them. I'd have the customer right in front of me. He didn't have to go find somebody and then maybe bump into somebody better and then buy it off of them. So, I was a real fucking entrepreneurial genius, I guess is what I'm saying. And now I make art. I make art now, right? I'm an artist. That's what I do more than anything else that I do. And it's the one thing that I've consistently done in my life. I've gone through a lot of phases, skater, this, that, the other thing. But one thing that's always been present is I'm a little bit mentally ill. That's been present always. And I'm an artist, man. I'm an artist. I'm gonna figure out a way. I got put away when I was 14. I made a fucking soap carving. I had no materials. I bit a pencil. I bit the eraser out of the end of a pencil and hollowed out the little metal part, and I used it to carve a bar of soap to make statues. Like, it's something that I was born with that I need to do. Believe me, my life would be easier if I didn't need to do it, because then I could just work and have more money than I do.
Totally understand that. Yep.
Yeah. So these are some of the things. I make action figures a lot of the time. I make toys.
I was going to ask you about those. Yeah, you have those up on your website. Talk a little on those. Yeah.
Well, the first toy I had a t-shirt company back in the day. I made like streetwear shit. It was called Scum Life, and I made a bunch of t-shirts.
I remember seeing those. Yeah.
It was there was a lot of like logo flips. Like I
remember the Santa Cruz one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
I remember that on Rob McAllister specifically.
Yeah, man. That was my man. Rob was my fucking man. I gotta, before this is over, I gotta tell a couple Rob stories too, please.
Oh, please do.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I love that fucking guy. I've never met a more fun fucking guy than Rob, man. And yeah, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, so I had this t-shirt company, and I was always flipping designs. Like I took the you know, the minor threat bottle in the leather jacket.
Yep.
I took him. I put him in Sunny Delight, drinking a purple stuff, like, you know, just like a little head nod to
I see Manhattan Special pop up a lot in your stuff too.
Yeah, that's now. That's now. Back then, I was more on like the punk tip, making rap references and punk references. Now I just try to, you know, I don't know. I'm just doing something different now. But so I'm watching. Is when the internet was still fun, like when I didn't get distracted in a bad way, when it wasn't on my phone. So like you'd watch YouTube and you'd be like, yo, I wonder if I could find the Thundercats. I remember liking the Thundercats. I wonder if that's on. It's when you would wonder if something existed on the internet still. So I'm watching the Thundercats. And, you know, like I said, my boy Mel introduced me to hardcore and punk. And he also introduced me to Oi. And I fucking love Oi. And I'm watching the Thundercats. And I'm like, yo, Panthro is a skinhead, man. Look at him. He's got the fucking braces.
Yeah.
He got the shaved head, man. Then I'm hearing the voice. And it turns out the voice was the dude who played Bill Cosby's father on the Huxtables.
Oh.
Yeah, the white-haired guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. I'm hearing a voice. I'm like, yeah, it's Skinhead was a black skinhead. Panthro was a black skinhead, man. And I'm like, man, I got to make this a shirt, man. I got to make like a Oi style, you know, where they're all angry, like holding the flag and shit. But
he's holding braces and boots, Panthro. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to make a t-shirt. Then I'm like, man. So I'm starting to collect action figures. I went to a thrift store. It's like when you could still find good shit at a thrift store, kind of. Not to be like, it's when, you know, when things were better back then and everything sucks now.
No, but eBay ruined everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't so picked through. You could still find shit. Nobody
knew what they
had
actually
boxes
had.
of shit.
Yeah.
And you know, I used to find more stuff than I do now. Anyway, I found a bunch of old He-Man figures. Then I got obsessed. And I went on like an eBay rabbit hole, buying like every He-Man that my mother said she didn't throw out, but definitely threw out because they're not anywhere in any of the boxes that she kept. So they definitely got thrown out. And I bought as many as I can because I'm like, you know, I'm a little bit of a grown-up at that point and I could afford to buy a toy. So I'm buying them all on eBay and I start finding bootleg ones. I'm like, yo, these are fucking weird and cool. Like South American, Mexican, and Argentinian, Brazilian blow plastic, you know, the hollow fucked up plastic. Bootleg He-Man and Thundercats. And then I was like, yo, and those are more expensive. And I was like, yo, I bet I'm not the only person that would like this. Like, I bet other people would like bootlegs. And what if I just made bootlegs? And then I found out how to make my first figure I made was the I'll show you guys, even though the people can't see. It's non-racist black skinhead Panthro.
There you go.
And you know, he's got the boots and braces. And that's it, man. So I started doing that.
How do you make them? Like, how do you make the molds and, you know, cast that kind of stuff?
Well, this guy was first cast out of clay, the head. The bodies, it was before I didn't know what I was doing. I bought packages of, like, at the 99-cent store, they would have like a 6-pack of, actually, it was in Chinatown. They'd have like a 6-pack of either Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Gotcha.
Or they would paint them different, and it would be a 6-pack of Spider-Man.
So you would just take the heads off and repaint them?
Yeah, these Chinese, really cheap 99-cent store figures. And then the heads were molded and cast. The heads like made out of clay, and then I cast them, made a mold of that clay piece in silicone, and then cast them with resin.
Gotcha.
You know? So like I said, man, I was always, deep down, I was always a nerdy kid who just wanted to nerd out and make shit and be left the fuck alone. And that's me in my element. When I'm making something, it's the best version of myself, man. You know, and that's when I'm most at home. So when I started making those, I made that one, and then it got a lot of it got posted on a lot of blogs and stuff like that, and a lot they sold out. So I was like, yo, I'll make a different figure. I'll make a different figure. And I was bored of making t-shirts by that time because like all these everybody and their fucking brother had a streetwear brand. And it was around the time they started wearing like tight fucking pink pants and bright green shirts and shit like that to have colorways for the corny sneakers that like Pharrell made and shit. And I'm like, man, I don't really fuck with this. Like, I don't really want anything to do with this shit. And also it was around the 2008 crash. Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of my stuff in stores, and then people were closing their stores, and I had to like fucking hunt people down to get paid. And, you know, I told this guy, bro, you're making me work for this fucking little $200. At this point, I might as well go work at Wendy's. The amount of hours I'm spending fucking chasing you. It was this dude in Flatbush, this Jamaican dude, man. And we ran up on him. I brought our friend with the lisp and Mel. And we rolled up in their spot. They had this bar they were doing a night out of. And yo, everybody in that bar looked around like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And I said, yo, the guy looked up and he was like, hey, Tone. I'm like, hey, Damien, how's it going, buddy? I've been trying to call you. You know, you don't call me back, bro. What's up, man? And everybody in that bar looked at each other like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Because Mel at this point is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking giant tattooed guy. He looks Italian. He can look Italian. Our friend with the lisp looks like he came out of the fucking, you know, out of I don't know, some fucking mafia documentary. He looks like he comes straight out for the fucking FBI files. And
like a hit was about to happen, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, holy shit, who does this guy owe money to? You know, like his store shut down. He must have got involved. So everybody's nervous. And the guy's like, I was like, why don't we just talk about this outside, man? And yo, this guy, I'm not trying to be a hard on, man. This guy owed me money for mad long, and he was laughing at me. I sent him a PayPal thing. I'm like, yo, if you want, I'll send you a PayPal. You could just pay me with a credit card or something, man. You know, a little bit at a time. You got to give me something. And he went, ha ha, PayPal. I'm like, oh, word, ha ha. All right. And so we rolled up in there. And so I don't want to frame this like I'm being a fucking bully or something, man. You know, I can't stand when people owe me money, especially, you know, I'm like, you think you're not going to pay me because I'm this and you're that? That's just not how it is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the one for that. So I'm like, why don't we just talk? He's like, let's talk outside. I said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's talk outside. Mel just being shot, a little bit shot. And he doesn't realize me and our friend with the lisp go outside with this guy. So Mel's still standing there by himself. So to everybody in the bar, they're like, damn, they left this guy here to make sure nobody does nothing. And everybody's man uncomfortable. It's beautiful. It was an accident. It was not meant to go that way. It's a complete mistake. But he sits there and he orders the fucking beer and he sits there. And when we get outside, I just tell the guy, listen, bro, we don't have any words to say right now, man. Why don't we just walk to the ATM and just end this the right way? Because it's not going to be good otherwise, man. And we went to the ATM. Yo, the fucking Arab dude in the ATM store is looking like, what the fuck? I've never seen this before. And yeah, the guy paid me most of it. Yeah, that was that, man. That was that. So that's why I got out of t-shirt business, man. All the stores that I was carrying stopped paying and they started closing. And then they only wanted to pay like, you know, their bigger accounts like Nike and Stussy and shit like that. And because they need those accounts to keep their doors open. They're paying Con Edison. I'm not getting paid. I was having to work too hard and I didn't like where the streetwear shit was at with all the fucking tight fucking corny clothes. And I was having so much fun making the toys that I went and started making the toys and just been making more art ever since. And the toys have turned more into sculptures than anything else at this point. You know, they're not toys, you know, and I'm even getting away from that more and getting more into like gallery pieces and stuff like that, you know?
Okay. I guess so winding down now, if you could share your favorite Rob McAllister memory with us. I know there are probably many.
There's a lot, and there's some of them I won't share on a podcast, but I would tell you guys later.
Of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
After we stop recording.
Yeah.
And it's all with love and respect, because I love and respect to do it. He was who he was, and he didn't let nobody stop him from doing what the fuck he wanted to do.
No, sir.
And for better or worse.
Right.
But I respect it nonetheless. Yeah. Well, he just did a really good fucking impression of me, and he nailed it. I would just kind of like, if I walked over and you had like, I don't know, a plate of chips or a bowl of grapes or something, I would just like start eating with you, you know, like, and he did an impression. He'd walk up, he'd be like, "Hey guys, how's it going? Can I have one of those?" But like,
as you're putting it in your mouth.
Yeah. After, it's pretty good. Can I have another one? Without like the person saying yes or anything like that. You know, there's another time, like one of the great stories. I wasn't there for this, but like, I don't know. It's real idiot shit. It's real stupid, like summer camp level beef. You know, it's not like a real beef. Some kid owed him money. I don't know. It could be like you guys, for all I know, or his friend. Some kid owed him fucking money for weed or something, or he had some kind of stupid problem with some kid. And he's like, "I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of him." So he somehow had like the receiver from a phone, and he's like waiting for the kid to come out of his house. And he's in the fucking hood outside the kid's house waiting for him. And the kid like walks up to a step or walks out onto a step. And fucking Rob walks up to him with the hood on and then pulls the hood off and starts beating the kid. Like the whole point was to be like incognito, and he pulls the hood off and starts beating the kid with the fucking phone. Yeah. And another one, I would make fun of him because I would make fun of him for like smoking a lot of weed, you know, because like whatever, I was calling him a hippie and shit one day. And I was like, "Oh, what are you gonna go smoke some weed and listen to Jimi Hendrix? Or what are you gonna go smoke some weed and listen to Pink Floyd?" He's like, "No, I'm gonna smoke a blunt and listen to Nuclear Family." You know, it's just little things like, oh, he used to prank people, man. He used to prank motherfuckers. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It was the best. Y'all ever met Hank?
Don't think so. No.
Oh man, it was just really, really scary, creepy, like character that Rob would do. And he would prank like really creepy, really butch character. Really vulgar. Yeah, man. We would just we would do that for hours, man. We just call people, do it to this guy, do it to this guy. People that didn't even know him, man. People that didn't even know him.
Yeah, once again, you can take the kid out of Lindenhurst, but
yeah. I missed that guy. Last time I saw him, typical Rob, he pulls up in like a fucking cool ass old truck, I think it was.
White Bronco for a long time.
It wasn't the Camaro. It was the Bronco.
I remember that.
And he pulls up. I haven't seen him in forever. And he's like, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And he lives in Lindenhurst, and I'm living in Brooklyn. So I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to this concert. I wondered if I could park in your driveway." He came like as if to hang out and say what's up.
He just needed a parking space.
Yeah. And you know, it's fine with me, man. I liked Rob so much. I didn't even give a shit if he was just using me for my driveway that day. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. It didn't matter. I had so many laughs with that guy. Yeah. Him and Mel.
All right. So I guess that's going to bring us to our closing question. If you could describe Lindenhurst to someone who's never been there, what would you tell them?
Am I describing the Lindenhurst I grew up in, or the Lindenhurst that exists now?
The one you know, whatever that is.
How do I describe it? I don't want to fuck it up, man. I don't want to fuck it up. I don't want to use
no wrong answer.
No, because I have an answer for this already. I just want to make sure I remember the right. Well, let me give you two answers.
Okay.
I used to tell people it's like if you take like the fucking Shanty Irish of Boston and then like mix that with like the lawns of the dirty South, you kind of have my town.
Okay.
You know? Or Bay Ridge mixed with the dirty South. You know, basically Shanty Irish, a little bit of Guido, and then like fucked up lawns. You know, just like a white trash drinking and fighting town.
For sure.
And I heard that my dad told me that the Native Americans used to call it the Forsaken Land, and that they chose to never live in Lindenhurst.
Yeah.
They're smarter. They know.
Yeah.
They know. Also, I don't know. Y'all ever see like Nate Diaz?
The MMA guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's from Stockton, California, man, but he really reminds me of like the type of dude. He wasn't popular, but he will pull up to a fucking your house on your lawn, and him and his brothers will fight your whole family while you're having your sister's fucking sweet 16 and fucking whoop your whole family's ass on the front lawn. Like, Nate Diaz is such a familiar character to me, man. He could have been straight out of fucking Lindenhurst, man.
It's funny how you meet some people from other places and it's like, I could have grown up with you. It's just
yeah.
That same wavelength. Yeah.
I met a bunch of kids from Farmingdale. They were apparently pretty fucking nuts too.
Yeah.
So I've heard, yeah.
And a guy I met at work, and he's a complete fucking psycho. He grew up in Amityville. He's a complete psycho. He grew up in Amityville, like North Amityville.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wait, where is he? He's from fucking Lindenhurst. The craziest fucking scumbag town with the most psychotic white kids I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, that would wrap it up for me.
Yeah. Very cool. Great.
I hope I don't sound like too much of a knucklehead. I'm not. I'm like a little bit of a knucklehead. It's just got hyped talking about the old times.
No, absolutely. That's what this is about.
Good. I saw the Venetian Shores shirt, man.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Thank you.
That's cool. Does anybody ever swim in that water?
I was told when I was very young I was not allowed to. My mom didn't let me go in that water.
Don't go in that water. Do people go in there?
I think they have to, but to avoid that now, they have like a splash park there. So like not in that water, but there's like a little like water splash park for kids adjacent to the beach. So you can go sit on the beach and like run around under the elephant shooting water on you and shit, all spouts and hoses and shit.
On that rocky sand, yeah.
Yes, right.
The rock beach.
Yeah, right.
So before we let you go, I'll just let everyone know where they can find you online, find your music and your art.
ToneTank.nyc. Everything is accessible through there. And then my Instagram is just @ToneTank. TONETANK.
Very cool.
Yo, thank you guys, man. It's cool to like just talk to some people about, this place that was so formative, you know what I mean? And this place that only people from there would understand.
Yeah. Yo, this one right here is about, remember when you were a little kid and you get together with your friends, you ride your bikes up to the 7-Eleven and you put all your money together and you a little kid, so you would take turns going up to people that came up and be like, excuse me, sir, I'll give you some money, think you can go in the store and buy some 40s. Excuse me, sir, I'll give you some money, think you can go in the store and buy some 40s. Excuse me, sir, I'll give you some money, think you can go in the store and buy some 40s. Excuse me, sir, I'll give you some money, you think you can go in the store and buy some 40s. A bunch of us in the 7-Eleven parking lot, sitting on the parking block, waiting for a car to come up. All winos to stagger up, winos were better, they were more likely to get your stuff. Like this one guy, Crazy Mike, who lived up in the woods right off of Sunrise Highway. This could have happened at a Wawa or a Circle K, it depends on where you are. Just one 7-Eleven in particular had a titty bar right around the corner. We would hold open the door until the bouncer caught us and they'd be like, yeah, I saw. And then we all scramble like watching Playboy Channel when you don't get that channel. Like I think I saw a titty, that's how we was living before they had the internet. Excuse me, sir, I'll give you some money, you think you can go in the store and buy some 40s. Excuse me, sir, if we give you some money, you think you can go in the store and buy
Long live the bench.